and welcome to the first full-length video here on the Crunchy Grandpa Nature channel, where people of all backgrounds can come and share in a love for nature. Now, we're going to get into a bunch of stuff, animals, plants, fungi, everything in between. But before we do, we got to break down some of the nomenclature and sort of scientific mumbo-jumbo that we'll talk about a lot. So without further ado, we will answer the question, taxonomy is the method by which we classify different organisms based on their genetics. As it stands, there are 8 main taxonomic groups: domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. And there's a little saying, a little limerick if you will, that I like to use to remember them.
Donkey Kong puts Crocs on for Godspeed.
Now, let's dive into these groups, which I'll now be referring to as clades, and figure out why this all matters and what it's even used for. The idea of classifying organisms under domain actually has a pretty interesting history. In the mid-18th century, Carl Linnaeus released his book Systema Naturae, which sort of created the systems that we like to use today. Then comes Carl Woese, who thanks to the advent of modern technology, was able to compare RNA sequences to determine 3 distinct branches of the domains: eukarya, archaea, and bacteria. Now, I won't be able to go into the entirety of each of these branches of all of the clades that we go through, because that would take a very long time, and it'd be a long video, but let me know if that's something you'd like to see. So, as we go more and more into depth through each one of these clades, they get subdivided more and more. So let's just talk about how we would actually use these different taxonomic terms. To put these to use, we're going to do a full taxonomic walkthrough of a creature we all know and love. Humans are of the domain Eukaryota, along with any other creature you can really think of. Humans are of the kingdom Animalia, along with anything else that eats, breathes, and has babies. We are of the phylum Chordata, along with anything else that has a spinal cord-like structure during its development. The humble human being is of the class Mammalia, along with anything else that is hairy and milky. The human being belongs to the order Primates, along with any of our thumb-having buddies. Out of the primates, humans are one of the Hominidae, otherwise known as the great apes. Fits in with chimpanzees, gorillas, and orangutans. Once we get to the genus Homo, we're specifically talking about humans, even the extinct species like Neanderthals. With species, we narrow it down to just us, Homo sapiens, which translates roughly into intelligent human, and also strong, kind, smart, funny, very likable, and very humble. As we narrow down each clade, the organisms within them become more closely related. For example, since humans fit into primates, we are much more closely related to any of the primates than any organisms outside of that order. This means that you are more closely related to a mouse lemur, aka Mort from Madagascar, than a mouse lemur is to a mouse. But since we are part of the family Hominidae, we are much more closely related to any of the great apes than we are to anything that is not a great ape. It's sort of like that thing how squares are technically rectangles, but rectangles are not squares. Like, we are primates, and we are Hominidae, and all Hominidae are primates, but not all primates are Hominidae. It's really important to remember that these relationships are based on genetics and not appearance. Appearance can be very deceiving in the animal kingdom because of things like convergent evolution. A great example of this is actually in Casual Geographic's video where he talks about hyraxes. If you haven't seen that, check it out, it's a great video, super funny. Put plainly, a hyrax is more closely related to an elephant, manatee, and rhino than it is to something like a pico, groundhog, or beaver. And that is because they belong to the same superorder, Penangulata. If you like penangulatas, or getting put in a clade. Well, hopefully this was helpful, and you can use this information to learn more about other organisms, or just info dump on your friends. Whatever you use the knowledge for, use it responsibly, and I'll see you next time.